RP data and CoreLogic valuations estimates are completely dumb. They do not make sense at all. I want to explain a little bit about this in this video today because it's a very common question that I get asked all the time and that people always wonder, and there's no education around this, unfortunately. They don't teach you this in school. So I'm going to teach you my 15 years of learning about this and what I've learned today, absolutely free, revolving around RP data estimates and CoreLogic reports and what do they mean, and is that the value of the property? Is that what it's worth? So let's jump into it. The first question that you should ask yourself is, where does the value come from? The value essentially comes from data and certain metrics that are flowing through realestate.com and domain, which then also get logged with RP data and CoreLogic. Now, RP data and CoreLogic is a system database that essentially keeps track of sales statistics and analytics and data and all that kind of stuff from sales that happen. So if, let's say, 1,000 properties in a particular state sell, when the real estate agent sells those properties, they update RP data and REA, Real Estate Australia, with the sale prices. And then they flow on to RP data and CoreLogic and they get lodged in RP data. RP data and CoreLogic literally has the ownership names of every single person that owns the property in Australia. So any property that's out there, you can see who owns it, when they bought it, when the property settled, and when it transitioned over into their name from the land titles office. The things that you need to be aware of and what I've learned about RP data CoreLogic estimates is 99% of them are wrong. And some of the reasons why they're wrong is because, as an example, a recent one that I had lately is I was talking to a client around a townhouse or a villa. And on RP data, there's only two different property types. There's a house and there's units. There's no filter for townhouses. There's no filter for villas. There's no filters for different style of properties like that. You could have a $2 million townhouse and it would filter the range, that type of property, as a unit. Even if it's a town home and it's 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, it'll filter in as a unit. So when it's logging this information and when it's spitting out, you've got to realize there's errors everywhere throughout this system. It doesn't mean anything. Like if you've got a 2-bedroom unit, which is 10 stories up, you've got to go up 10 flights of stairs, it's an old unit block, it doesn't know what renovations have happened. It doesn't know the quality. It doesn't know the fixtures. It doesn't know, are the floors made of lino, which is cheap, or are the floors made of marble, which are very expensive, or are they plated with gold? RP data doesn't know this. Another example about this, I'll probably throw out 10,000 different examples. But let's say you bought a property, you bought it for $300,000. Then let's say you added a couple extra bedrooms to it, did an extension. You spent $200,000 on an extension. You made 3 or 4 extra bedrooms, an extra bathroom. Obviously that would raise the price, correct? The day after the renovation's done, if you check RP data, what price will be there? The same price as what was there before the renovation. Why is that? Because RP data doesn't know that you add an extra bedroom, bathroom, or square meters. It doesn't ever get updated with that. Only people that can update RP data are those with actual RP data subscriptions, which pay $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 per year for that, or either are a licensed real estate agent or a property valuer or whatever it may be. In a hot market, you'll notice with the valuations as well. They give you a low estimate, a high estimate, and the midpoint. They just say the value is the midpoint. They give you 3 different points. Let's say, as an example, I show a person a property for $400,000 and I say, this is a great deal. I believe it's worth $480. And they say, well, the midpoint's only $370 as an example. The midpoint is not what it's worth. And the reason why they've given you a range is because there is always a range to every single property. There's not one value. And that's why when I talk about properties, there's always usually a value range as well. So another thing with RP data and CoreLogic is it can be manipulated. Have you ever noticed that if you look on realestate.com.au and you scroll through listings, if you filter out house on real estate and domain, houses, and you're not looking at units, not looking at villas, not looking at vacant plots of land, sometimes you can find like a unit on there. And then you're looking at it and you're like, this says it's a house, but it's a unit. There's further evidence to that, right? Like real estate agents can filter a villa as a house, a unit as a house, and they can put it in different categories. And then if they've done that, which happens all the time, right now stop what you're doing, go through your suburb, filter houses, and I guarantee you there'll be a townhouse thrown in there. There'll be a unit thrown in there that has strata, and it will be filtered under a house. So is it a house? No, it's a unit. If you're expecting RP data and realestate.com to be correct all the time, why can you easily find so many errors all the time, everywhere? There's errors in everything. If a person wanted to see an RP data value report that says 100,000 more, It can be created. If it's a unit, someone could change the actual RP data report to this is a house, then the data that will flows through RP data will change it from a unit to a house. It'll say this property is worth 100,000 more. It'll say instead of the valuation going from 350, it'll go to 600,000. People can manipulate RP data reports, and that's why I strongly recommend you do not take that as gospel as what the property's worth. In a hot market that is going up very, very quickly, the normal price is not even the midpoint. It's usually 10% above the highest point. So if you've got low point 300, high point 360, midpoint 330, there, and you're like, oh, well, the midpoint must be 330. I'm gonna make an offer of 330 when it's like on the market for 400,000. You're never gonna buy it. It'll sell for usually 10% above the highest price point. So if it's 300, low point, midpoint 330, high point 360, in a hot market, the property's gonna sell for 390. So if you think the property's worth 330, wait 2 months later, then you'll see it sell for 390. Then you understand what I'm talking about. There's multiple factors involved, but essentially RP data reports, CoreLogic reports, realestate.com estimates, they're all 99% of the time incorrect. Another example of this, many times you see the bedrooms, bathrooms, car spaces. You could have a house that has a 4-car garage, and then you could have a house that has a 2-car garage. You might notice that if you scroll through realestate.com.au right now, you might have a house that only has a 2-car garage, but it says it has 4-car garage, because the attributes for cars is either a garage, a car space, or a carport. It doesn't actually designate what it is. There's houses, as an example, in the suburb that I'm living in right now. It says there's 6 car spaces. It's literally just a long driveway. So it's not a designated 6-car garage. It's just there's a spot on the land to park 6 cars. If a real estate agent has gone on RP data and changed the number 6 to make it look fancier on real estate or domain, then that will impact the price to what shows up on real estate or domain as an estimate. That will impact the price that what shows up on CoreLogic as an estimate. Because if someone's changed the 6, like from a 2-car garage to a 6-car garage, like 6 car spaces, then it will try to find all the other properties in the same area, and it will try to piece what other properties have sold with 6 car spaces. And if there's only been 2 or 3, and maybe they're mega mansions with 6 car spaces, you might see the actual estimate balloon out to $1 million more than what it's worth, because it's comparing it with properties that have 6-car garage when maybe it's just got 6 car spaces and it's a fibro shack. So it can be ridiculously wrong. It always is wrong. I've got properties that I own that are worth like 1 million and it says it's worth 600,000. I've got properties that are worth like 2 million and it says it's worth 1.2. There's 80% difference. But I understand why people do this, and I used to do this years and years ago as well. You look at that, you look at the price, you say, oh, this is the price. It has nothing to do with the price. Just like in other videos, if you haven't seen, definitely watch them as well. It's why the advertised price online means nothing at all either. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual value of the property. It's just what the actual listing price is. If you have any questions, just comment below. CoreLogic and RP data reports, do not follow them. You will continue to miss out on deals. It's very, very rarely accurate. Occasionally it might be accurate, but I've found in my experience, 90% of the time, it's not accurate to what the property would actually sell for in that market. Hope this video helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.